Hey, what's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? What's going on in your world today? This is your host, Michael Elder, and this channel is called Treasures Galore. We talk about everything Forrest Fenn, but most importantly, we talk about Forrest Fenn memoirs. Because I believe, and Forrest Fenn has stated, that how you solve this thing is you go through the books, go through with a fine tooth comb, and then go back, study the poem, and then continue to do that. That's what Forrest Fenn tells us. Now, I did have someone tell me that Too Far to Walk does not have any clues and I should only be reading The Thrill of the Chase. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. Let me quote: "But there are clues in my new book that can help a person." Did I answer that question? Okay, so he says, yes, there are clues in Too Far to Walk that will help a person out. So what I'm doing is I'm going through all three books and looking for anything that might resemble something about or where warm waters halt or take it in the canyon down, etc., etc. So yes, there are clues in Too Far to Walk. Now, on a side note, before he says that in this quote, he says, "Well, I've not had anyone tell me the answer to that clue. If you read my preface, it doesn't take a genius to know what they are talking about." Okay, so the answer to the clue he's talking about is the unintended clue in Too Far to Walk. So he says, if it doesn't take a genius to know what people think it is, and that is that Too Far to Walk is 10 miles, because that's kind of what he talks about in the preface of Too Far to Walk. So yes, we know that there are clues in Too Far to Walk. So I'm going through the books with a fine-tooth comb and letting people know through my YouTube channel what I think. My opinions. I never once said Forrest Fenn had an affair. All I said was, when I was reading this book very slowly, it sure seems that the way Forrest Fenn painted the picture of their encounter, it seems weird. Or awkward, I guess. And Forrest Fenn wrote this book knowing that there are hints in it and that people are going to be, reading every word, reading in between every letter, you know what I mean? So, Forrest Fenn knew that. So when he writes a story, he is the sole person that's responsible for painting the picture that's in the reader's mind. So in the chapter, Jackie Kennedy, a Rare Lady, he talks about being or working late, which is the most common cheater excuse in the world. If you've seen any videos or anything like that, you know that that's one of the most common things for cheaters to say is that they're working late. And then he goes on to say that Jackie Kennedy just had a towel on. You know, why didn't she just get dressed and come over there? Why did she go over there late after she got out of her shower and was just in a robe? Why? You know, that's what I think. Why? And I'm not saying Forrest Fenn did anything. I'm not attacking Forrest Fenn's character or Jackie Kennedy's character. I'm just saying what Forrest Fenn wrote in his book that contains hints to find a couple $1,000,000. That's a picture that he painted, and that's kind of how he described it. Now I know Forrest Fenn is the one to, exaggerate a little bit. He tells some tall tales, and that's fine. If he did that, that's perfect. All I'm doing, guys, is I'm reading the memoir that has hints that you can find a couple $1,000,000 worth and sharing it with you guys. That's it. Like I said, never once said he had an affair. I don't know if he did or not, and to be honest with you, I could care less. My whole purpose was to find the treasure chest, and now I'm done, so I'm giving everything away. So if you think that I care that you wrote something bad about me or asked me about my mother or something like that, I don't. I don't at all. Okay? Don't at all. And I asked for feedback, and a person wrote, "No, you're wrong." And then I was like, "Okay, well, thank you very much for that." He's like, "Well, you asked for feedback." Well, yeah, that's not feedback. That's just being rude. Why don't you? The perfect feedback for me is saying, "Hey, dude, you're wrong, but in the book, in this place, you're wrong." And, that's the way I see it. And I'm completely all right with that. That's awesome. That's what I want. You know what I mean? If you can change my mind through something, perfect. But with this, there's no change in my mind or not change in my mind. It was just something that I saw and I brought up that I thought was interesting. Whether it happened, I don't care. Cynthia Meacham wrote an awesome comment saying someone asked her to comment, which I thought was kind of strange because why wouldn't that person just comment themselves? But, she explained that Jackie Kennedy had to go through the back door and she couldn't go through the front door. Well, there's thousands of searchers that have no idea what his guest house layout is, He's painting the picture of her sneaking in through the back door. That's the picture he's painting. Why wouldn't he just say, Jackie Kennedy came to my office and we talked and explained their conversation? Why? Why add all that other stuff in? Why? That's what I want to know. Why did he write the story the way he did? But I almost kind of think I have an answer to that. And this is it. So Forrest Fenn writes, when I wrote my book, I wanted to say something that was atrocious so people would jump all over me and Let me start over. In my book, I've made statements that were not true, just to see if anybody would catch it. One was about the First World War and from whom the bell tolls. It wasn't the First World War, it was the Spanish Revolution. For 3 or 4 years, nobody said a word about that. When I wrote my short book, I wanted to say something that was atrocious so people would jump all over me, and I could get some publicity and sell some books. So I said, the Indians at Taos Pueblo practice idolatry like the Catholics. I thought that was a terrible thing to say, and I was ready to take it on the nose. Nobody ever said a word. And I said that the first artist that painted Taos was Charles Craig, but he wasn't much of an artist. Nobody ever said a word. I was really disappointed that I got away with those things, but I enjoy doing those things. Forrest Fenn writes stuff to rile people up. He likes controversy. He likes publicity because no matter if it's bad publicity or good publicity, it's publicity. You know what I mean? So Forrest Fenn does these things and says these things just to see if anyone would even mention it to him. Some people don't even have the balls. With Forrest Fenn, being a wealthy man, I'm sure he's had so many yes men in his life that never said anything to contest him or anything, or even call him out on something that he wrote, like the Indians practice idolatry like the Catholics. So he says these things. His whole life has been built on controversy, selling the way, having the Pueblo and excavating it, and then selling the forgeries. There's just so many of these things. Forrest Fenn loves it. And could this story be one of those where he's like, I'm going to make it seem like this, but let's just see if anyone says anything. Maybe he didn't do that. I don't know. But I'm just saying, Forrest Fenn writes some of these things just to get a rise out of people. That's who Forrest Fenn is. And like he said, he really enjoys doing those things. Okay? So, with that being said, that's kind of who Forrest Fenn is. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what that chapter means, if it's important or not. But for another searcher to say that, no, this isn't important to the chase at all, is, not in a better word, asinine, I think. And I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just saying no one knows what's important or what's not important. We know that from Calazar's and Capro's channel that there's an important story that we don't know. It's important, but he's saving it for the finder. Now, would this have something to do with the story? I have no idea. And neither does anyone else. Only the finder will know, okay? So for someone to tell me that something is not important in these books is, it's wrong. If you ever hear me say something that in Thrill the Chase, if something's not important, do not believe me for a second, okay? I have no idea. No idea. I'm not like anyone else, okay? I'm just like everyone else. I have no idea whether it's important or not. So, and then I had someone write a comment, and I'm not going to answer all of them because that would take years, but I had someone say that, my imagination is too big and that's not what's going to solve this thing. And, it just kind of made me chuckle inside. Forrest Fenn says that imagination is more important than knowledge. Now, I believe that is true in reading The Thrill of the Chase. I believe your imagination reading the book is more important than any knowledge that you could learn with Google or anything like that. I firmly believe that. And I'm going to go through my solve and show you how I got a solve that's just on the books but fits directly on a map, exactly, to the T, to the mile. So, that's what my YouTube channel is about, guys. And if you don't like me going through the books, then maybe you should unsubscribe because that's what I'm gonna do. But here's another quote that I kind of wanted to bring up. It's not what they say on the blogs that may be significant. It's what they whisper. Okay, so it's not what everyone's saying on the YouTube, or, in the comments and stuff like that. It's what people are whispering. What are people whispering? Tell me that. Do you think people are whispering? Just like Rodney Greenway, talking about the same thing about a year ago. He caught a lot of slack for it. Why? We're not attacking Forrest. We're just going through the book and explaining, this is what we see, whether it's right or wrong. It doesn't matter. That's what's in the books. That's the way he wrote it. So it's not what they say on the blogs that may be significant. It's what they whisper. The blueprint is challenging, so the treasure may be located by the one who can best adjust. To illustrate my point, go to YouTube, Smarter Every Day. So we all know that YouTube video is the backward bicycle. So when everyone's riding the regular bicycle, you need to ride the backwards bicycle and go the opposite way. Now, he told us to stay in the box, but you have to go against the grain because there's so many solves that are so much alike, and those solves cannot be right if there's only been a few people within, 200 feet of the treasure chest. So you got to go against the grain a little bit, guys. You got to go against the grain. But I mean, that's about the end of this video. I just kind of felt like I had to get a couple, things off my chest about that because it really upset people. But I didn't really quite get why everyone was so upset. I never said that he did. I just said, that's the picture Forrest Fenn paints. So anyways, that's it. I will come out with a new video here in a couple days that I think is going to be awesome. So stay tuned.